Hi, Grandpa. Thank you for doing another interview with me. Are you ready to talk about your early childhood?
Yes, I am.
When and where were you born?
I was born in Scranton, Pennsylvania in 1936.
Who was President of the United States and what historical events happened that year?
Well, there was Franklin Delano Roosevelt was president,
What
and
was
I had an uncle, Patrick Boland, that was running for Congress. And I remember when I was 3 or 4 years old, I my father lifted me up and I pulled a lever in the voting booth for my Uncle Pat.
what was one of your earliest childhood memories?
Uh, Probably that voting for him. And I remember riding my bicycle around the neighborhood on the sidewalk when I was very young.
What hobbies did you like to do in those days?
I didn't catch it now. What?
What hobbies did you like to do in those days?
I can't hear you.
What hobbies did you like?
Oh, hobbies. Uh, just playing with the kids in the neighborhood. We never left the neighborhood when I was young.
What do
And
you remember about your house when you were a kid?
well, I remember it was a nice home, 416 Prospect Avenue. And we weren't allowed to come in the front door. We had to use the side door. My Aunt Mame was the boss of the house. She lived on the third floor. And we lived on the second and first floor. And when I was young, my uncle Gene was a doctor, and he was in the army at that time.
Do you remember when you got your first TV and what were your favorite TV shows and movies at that time?
Well, I remember the first time I ever saw TV was in, let's see, was in 1948. And we were living in Philadelphia. And the boy next door that was my age, his father was an engineer with RCA. And they had a television set that he was working on. And that was the first I ever saw TV.
Who were your friends when you were little and what did you do together?
Well, we just played in the neighborhood. We had stickball. You know what that is? It was, we didn't have a bat. And the older boys wrapped up a newspaper, and that was the ball. And we used the broom handle to as a bat. And we played in the street in front of the house. We played baseball.
Do you still have any objects or souvenirs from your childhood?
Souvenirs?
Yeah.
Yes, I do. I have some wooden soldiers that were part of a fence that went around. My father bought a train set. I guess it was the year before I was born, he bought it. And I have that. I gave it to your Uncle Jimmy for his, so that he'd have it for his boys. And I have that down the basement. Was part of my Uncle Gene, when he first came back from the army, he was still single and he lived with us. His office was in our house.
What did you do over the summer vacation when you were younger?
Well, the Convoys had a home up in Tobyhanna, and I used to go up there every summer. We'd move up there and stay with my grandmother. And we had lots of things to do up there. And I had horses when I was a teenager. I had a horse and my sister had a horse. So we rode up there and there was a boat. We used to go out in the boat. So we all loved our time in Tobyhanna.
Did you have pets growing up?
I don't
Did you have pets growing up?
have what?
Pets.
Oh, pets. No.
What else can you tell me about your early childhood?
Well, it was a nice time. We was during the war, the Second World War. So we played a lot of soldiers, and we used to pretend. I can remember falling off the pedestals in the front of the house into the snow. We'd fall like we were shot. And we used to save the tinfoil from the cigarettes, packages of cigarettes. That was one of our favorite things to do. We used to save that.
Thank you, Grandpa, for doing this interview with me. Bye.
Oh,